Russian President Vladimir Putin held a phone call with US President Donald Trump on Sunday, during which he congratulated him on his 80th birthday and discussed bilateral relations between Moscow and Washington, according to the Kremlin. During the conversation, which lasted just under an hour, Trump once again called for an end to the war in Ukraine. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov said,
Thousands of protesters have gathered in Geneva ahead of this week's Group of Seven G7 summit, which is set to bring together United States President Donald Trump and other world leaders in nearby France. The demonstration on Sunday was led by the so-called No G7 coalition, which is comprised of more than 60 associations and groups, including Palestinian rights advocates, feminist activists and environmentalists.
SpaceX went public this week in the largest IPO ever, making CEO Elon Musk the world's first trillionaire. Despite its name, SpaceX has been emphasizing the potential of its costly AI business. And competitors OpenAI and Anthropic may soon follow with their own public market debut. So on the latest episode of TechCrunch's equity podcast, Kirsten Sean O'Kane, I discussed what's looking like a hot IPO summer. And I
Islamabad as the PPP's Azad Jammu and Kashmir AK chapter on Sunday urged the region's election commission to withdraw the election schedule for 12 refugee seats in the Legislative Assembly. Information Minister Atolla Tarar called for a resolution to differences through democratic and constitutional means ahead of the July 27 elections in AJK. The Joint Awami Action Committee JSC had called for widespread protests demanding the abolition of 12 seats in the region's legislative assembly reserved for refugees from Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, who settled in mainland Pakistan after 1947. The UK and Japan have agreed a multi-billion-pound investment deal, which UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said will build a new era of cooperation between the two nations. Japanese firms will spend more than 9 billion on UK infrastructure and financial services and up to 9 billion on UK offshore wind, creating tens of thousands of jobs, Downing Street said as the PM met his Japanese counterpart Sanai Takaichi in London.
Lebanon state media have said at least 3 people were killed and 15 injured in an Israeli airstrike on Beirut's southern suburb on Sunday. The Israel Defense Forces IDF said it targeted a command center used by Hezbollah in Dahiyeh after the Iran-backed armed group launched aerial targets toward Israel. United States President Donald Trump has criticized Israel for launching an attack on Lebanon's capital, Beirut, on the day he has said a deal to end the US-Israel war with Iran could be signed. In a post on Truth Social on Sunday, Trump said the Israeli attack on Beirut should not have happened, particularly on a special day when we are so close to a peace deal with Iran. United States President Donald Trump has made a late endorsement in a Republican runoff for a key U.S. Senate race in Georgia ahead of the U.S. midterm elections. In a post on his Truth Social account, Trump threw his support behind U.S. Representative Mike Collins over former football coach and political newcomer Derek Dooley.
Hundreds of pro-Palestinian demonstrators have gathered in the British capital to condemn an event promoting the sale of land and properties in illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank. Demonstrators outside the so-called Great Israeli Real Estate event in London on Sunday shouted slogans and held posters reading, "Stop Israel's illegal sale of stolen Palestinian land," and "Thou shalt not steal."
Welcome back to TechCrunch Mobility, your hub for the future of transportation, and now more than ever how AI is playing a part. To get this in your inbox, sign up here for free. Just click TechCrunch Mobility. I won't spend too much time rehashing the SpaceX IPO. Every media outlet, including TechCrunch, has spilled enormous amounts of digital ink on the company's first day of trading. But there are 2 important data points to note for anyone who closely watches the future of transportation industry.
teenager was shot and buses destroyed during chaotic scenes in New York City that marred jubilant celebrations for the Knicks' historic NBA championship win. The New York Knicks beat the San Antonio Spurs 94-90 in Game 5 on Saturday to clinch the title for the first time in more than half a century. Former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has responded to criticism for skipping his country's first World Cup match to attend a USA game, where his girlfriend, pop superstar Katy Perry, performed. Sometimes supportive boyfriend duties call. But you know who I'm rooting for to take the cup. He posted on social media, adding a Canadian flag emoji.
British anti-Islam activist Tommy Robinson said he was detained at Heathrow Airport on Saturday and had his phone seized after a week when he posted heavily online about racist and anti-immigrant riots in Northern Ireland. Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, said on X he was held on Saturday evening for around 3 hours under the Counter-Terrorism and Border Security Act.
With the US and Iran inching towards an agreement to end the conflict that began more than 3 months ago, it's clear that some factions in Iran are not happy about what's on offer. Hardliners have been taking to state media with harsh criticisms of the reported details of the Memorandum of Understanding, and some rallies have seen chanting against the negotiators.
Bogota, Colombia. 2 women rush onto the floor of Colombia's Senate chamber. The radiating beadwork around their necks and the red and green of their clothing cut through the dark-suited crowd of legislators. One of the women, Claudia Kiragama, steps behind the wooden podium in the centre of the chamber. She pulls the small, silver microphone close to her mouth. It is a moment to celebrate.
More than 360 people abducted by Boko Haram have been rescued in northeastern Nigeria. Former captives recount months of hardship, while families of those still missing say they are running out of answers for children waiting for their parents to return.
For a few hours on Saturday, it appeared that the long diplomatic effort led by Pakistan to end the US-Iran war was approaching its culmination. President Donald Trump spoke of signing an agreement on Sunday, while Pakistani and Qatari mediators echoed the same with high confidence.
Multan. The Federal Investigation Agency's FIA immigration wing on Sunday foiled an alleged attempt by a government employee to travel abroad from Multan Airport using a fake no objection certificate, NOC. In a press release, the agency said that a passenger identified as Mohsin Ali was travelling to the United Arab Emirates on flight number PA8112.
Islamabad. PPP's Azad Jammu and Kashmir, AJK, chapter on Sunday urged the region's election commission to immediately withdraw the election schedule for 12 refugee seats, stressing the need for dialogue to defuse the ongoing crisis. The call comes ahead of the July 27 elections in AJK amid widespread protests by the Joint Awami Action Committee, JAC, over their demand to abolish 12 seats in the region's legislative assembly that are reserved for refugees from Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir who settled in mainland Pakistan after 1947.
Tehran, Iran. Markets in Iran have welcomed the prospects of an interim understanding with the United States that could offer relief after more than 100 days of hostilities and tension. The two sides on Sunday appeared close to signing the first stage of a deal, but there was also fierce last-minute pushback from hardliners inside Iran, as well as seemingly from Israel. The administration of US President Donald Trump has barred foreigners from accessing the top AI models developed by Anthropic, citing national security concerns, underscoring the US government's policy of controls over advanced technology. The United States measures come less than a week after Anthropic, the company behind the Claude chatbot, rolled out a new Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5 model named Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5.
I work from home, so I typically listen to audio through headphones or AirPods. But I've always wanted a desk speaker that doesn't take up too much space, which made the new Sonos Play a fitting first Sonos product to review. The Play, launched in March, is Sonos's first new device in more than a year. The 299 speaker is a hybrid, part home speaker, part portable. It sits on your desk in a pill-shaped dock, but at 1.3 kilograms with a utility loop on the back. It's easy to carry around the house or take outside.
Islamabad, 12 years after Khyber Pakhtunkhwa became Pakistan's first province to enact a right to information RTI law. The Free and Fair Election Network, FAFN, notes the pioneering framework remains underutilised and vulnerable to disinformation due to weak enforcement and structural gaps. In a policy brief released Saturday titled From Pioneer to Performer, making Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Right to Information Act work against disinformation, FAFN urged the KP Assembly and provincial government to launch targeted legal and institutional reforms to transform KP's pioneering Right to Information framework into an effective mechanism for proactive disclosure and public accountability.
The 2026 World Cup will have 13 different kickoff times. You can use the Al Jazeera Sport widget to find out exactly when your team is playing in your local time, who Spain versus Cape Verde, what FIFA World Cup 2026 Group H match, where Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, United States, when Monday, 12 p.m. local time, 16 GMT, how to follow. Catch all live updates on Al Jazeera Sport.
The Lahore Heritage Area's Revival Board, LHR, has issued a clarification regarding recent reports and public concern over Ewing Hall located in Anakali, Lahore, stating that the building will not be demolished and will instead be preserved and restored as part of its heritage protection mandate. According to the LHAR statement, Ewing Hall was leased out in 1915 for use as student hostel accommodation and has remained unused for its original educational and hostel purpose since 2015.
Taiwan's government launched a website on Sunday to encourage Chinese nationals to report intelligence tips, saying it was offering a secure channel to what it says is an increasing number of people who are fed up with the system and want change. Taiwan and China, which view the democratically governed island as its own territory, have long spied on each other, and Taiwan in particular has reported an increased number of Chinese espionage cases. British forces on Sunday intercepted a sanctioned oil tanker belonging to Russia's Shadow Fleet in the English Channel. The Defense Ministry said in a 6-hour operation hailed by Kyiv, Navy commandos boarded the ship under cover of darkness by fast roping from a helicopter in the dark, according to footage released by the ministry. New York Knicks won the National Basketball Association championship for the first time in over 50 years, sending the city and fans into a frenzy after the long-awaited victory. The Knicks clinched the title on Saturday night against the San Antonio Spurs 94-90 in the 5th game of the best-of-7 series. Voters in Switzerland have rejected a proposal to limit the country's population to 10 million. Early projections suggest not all votes have been counted, but the current trend suggests 55% of participants voted against to 45% for.
A moment of magic from Vinicius Jr. salvaged Brazil a point against Morocco in New Jersey as the 5-time world champions made a shaky start to the tournament. Ismail Saibari ran through to give Morocco a 21st-minute lead with a clever scoop in the Group C opener on Saturday. But a solo effort from Vinicius ensured the points were shared in this much-anticipated group match.